Hello, my fellow degenerates. CookBoss88 here, back again with the part 2 of Khemia. Alright, so last we, oh wait, hold on, I have to, say something very important. Notice how the audio of the VN right now sounds very, very clear? It's because just this afternoon, I found out that my Redmi 9 can record, not only can it can record video, but can screen record the video, but it can also record internal audio, which is freaking awesome. And that's it's got very excited about this. Yeah, so let's just start right now. Last time we someone's computer just booped. Alright, so last time we left off, someone tried to assassinate Scipio and Neferu. And let's just start reading. Let me just move the mic a little bit further away from me. Okay. What follows is a patchy, blurry mess that my memory is never able to put together. It's like during my first years of university, getting far too inebriated at the bar only to wake up with a raging headache and the hope that I didn't do anything too awful the night before. A few things I'm able to remember though. I'm unsure if it's real or imagined. Wolves come into the room and I don't know if they're from the establishment or the Empire. More drones follow. These I know are from the palace because only the Empire owns drones. Then I'm on a small ship. All the while, I'm trembling and I can't stop despite feeling completely numb. Neferu tries to speak to me every now and then, but seems to give up after I only offer one-worded answers. I thought I was done with this, but it's just like the first night after it happened. Like it's never left me. I'm still broken. Okay, we're back at Amicus's palace, which is as big as we remembered. Then I'm being ushered out of the ship by Neferu. Calm is talking to us, but I'm not paying any attention to him. It's like my mind is crowded with too many thoughts, yet I'm not thinking of anything. At least, I'm trying not to think of anything. I'm vaguely aware of the fact that Neferu had been cleaning my fur on the way over here, yet smell is still all aww. That's so sweet. That's so sweet of Neferu. I've heard that jackals have a far weaker sense of smell, not as sensitive as that of a wolf. But now that I'm focusing on the smell, I keel over and retched violently. Yeah, that's... You were covered with intestines, dude. If it was intestines, I don't know. Ahotep, says Neferu. I'm jerked to the side at first I think Neferu pushed me away. I wouldn't fault him for it, but instead he positioned me over the bushes to be sick into them instead of on the path. Not much comes up, but the wine from earlier, and it burns worse than I remember from my younger years. It has been a while. The more festive days at school had ended after the riots. All the while Neferu was holding back my mane, just like my schoolmates might have back in those days. Amicus insists that you meet him in the palace. Yeah, while Scipio has like a splitting headache. I don't know. Neferu, for God's sake, tell him we are on our way. Skip is unwell. No, don't tell him that. I'm fine. Yeah, you're far from fine, dude. Someone's guts just sprayed all over you and you think you're fine. You're not fine. You had a PTSD attack just a few moments ago. I straighten up purposely, taking a deep breath only to breathe in the scent of the assassin. He filters through my nostrils as fresh as when he first splattered through our room. How did he die? That's the one thing I can't understand in that scene. How did he die? Who killed him? What killed him? What does he look like? If it must have been a very, very powerful thing to have him his insides just splatter all over the room. What killed him? Again, I give a great retch, but I'm empty and nothing comes up this time. Skip, what's wrong? Skip, what's wrong? Were you injured? Are you sick? He got splattered with insides, dude. Of course he's gonna be sick. Yeah, that's it. Yes, I'm ill. We know. I steady my feet again, then straighten up my posture, purposely setting off in the direction of the palace while the Pharaoh follows along, his paw on my back. I shrug him off, not wanting to appear as if I need steadying, like some female about to faint. I was feeling off earlier in the evening, and I suppose it's developed further. I am feeling better now. A PTSD attack is, I wouldn't call having a PTSD attack off, feeling a bit off. That's kind of a very serious thing. I'm regaining my focus, my composure. I'm begin my breathing exercises, that ones that usually steady my pause and racing thoughts. Still, even as I even out my breathing, my vision continues to blacken at the edges in ebbs and flows, a constant threat that I might lose consciousness. That is the one thing I cannot do right now. Not in front of the men who are in charge of this mission. Too bad it depends on this. Too much it depends on this, sorry. Somehow, over the course of 20 spaces, I'm able to retrain my mind, recompose my outward demeanor. I've worked my way up to this position far too long. I won't fall and let that height be used against me. Come on, Amicus is waiting. I don't look at him, but I can tell Neferu is staring at me as he follows along my side. 'Cause he cares! I can tell he wants to ask further. Of course he does, but thank the gods he keeps silent as he turns to walk through the archway and into the palace. You guys have no idea how much I miss this place, man. I've only been inside the palace twice. The first had been the two other assistants in training, in which Amicus interviewed the three of us before sending us back to the university. The last time was last week, alone, when I'd been chosen. I need to display the same confidence that I'd felt back then, to wipe the last hour from my mind. There's Amicus. He looks disappointed. My confidence try comes up a bit short though when I see Amicus standing right there in the main hallway. His presence is always intimidating. He is the Emperor after all. But right now he looks especially intimidating. He's angry. What the hell were you thinking? More than angry, he's furious, as he's not looking at me. In fact, it's as if he's not even present. His gaze reserved for only for the jackal beside me. This is good. Neferu's smug nature returns, and I have to admit that it impresses me a little bit. Even if he is the Pharaoh's son, he's still a lone jackal within the palace of a fierce woven emperor. No, Neferu, I'm not playing your stupid games tonight. The Emperor seems to remember himself and takes a deep breath, though the smoldering fury continues to burn in his eyes. You realize how serious this is. What could have happened? I realized this. Yes, I was there. Then what the frick? Language, Amicus! Language! You're an emperor! Then what the frick were you doing in the clay district? Boinking? I jump. I never having heard Amicus shout like that or curse in such a manner, for that matter. Brazenly showing your face, no appointments, no protection. Oh, they offer protection there. I get that. That's a good one. Neferu's joke falls terribly flat, and Amicus lets it hang there in the air as if emphasize the stupidity of it. I think it's awesome, man. You know, I almost felt guilty assigning a Joan to covertly tell you, what if you've been killed? I thought you were at least somewhat sensible. Amicus' muzzle hangs open for a moment, as if trying to search for words appropriate enough to describe his disbelief and anger. Even through my numbed senses, I'm able to feel some shame and embarrassment, not only for myself, but Neferu as well. What had we been thinking? We knew the separatist movements have been gaining a bit more momentum, especially recently become more radical. We discussed the possibility of things becoming more dangerous. While well, I might not matter in the grand scheme of this mission. Losing the pharaoh would, well, it would end the mission. It might even start a war. That's what they want. I suppose I had just assumed the pharaoh knew the risks, knew what he was doing, and I hadn't been even bothered to ask. I look at him and see that he has his ears back, eyes downcast. Amicus's anger seems to lose its edge, his demeanor shrinking a bit as he waits for Neferu to respond. When the jackal offers nothing, Amicus spreads his paws in a gesture of bewilderment. I mean, you're not frolicking first-year student. You're not some frolicking first-year student needing a private group from fornication, are you? I mean, he acts like he does. Have you met him? I set you up in the best apartment in the Imperial District. It's a long walk. I was tired, Amicus. Not tired enough to do the naughties, apparently. Well, again, the Emperor is at a loss for words. An assignment of the current situation indicates that I have information that may be of use to you, Amicus. What are you talking about? What, are you talking about the assassin? About Neferu's living accommodations. Oh, shut up, Calm. What? Calm is a snitch. Computer. The magistrate of the Imperial District ordered for apartment to be renovated, thus evicted Neferu. What? I was not notified of this. According to Ad Astron Code 3304 under Housing, Magistrate Anthony... Who the frick is Anthony? Anthony was fully within his rights to do so without notifying you, Amicus. Oh, he's the magistrate. I thought it was just some kind of law or something. Then where the hell have you been living, Neferu? The jackal opened his mouth but was interrupted by Calm once again. He has been renting various temporary living spaces, mainly within the Silk and Clay districts. I have logged the addresses of each location if you... Calm is a freaking narc! Damn! Shut the hell up for once, Calm. The point has been made. If all you do is spy, then you should learn to read a room. Read a room does not compute, never a room. We know, Calm. Apparently, why did you not tell me of this? Amicus looks less angry now, more confused. Neferu sighs. You are the Emperor of Ad Astra. You have bigger issues to worry about than me getting kicked out of apartments because of Wulben's spite. Not if it endangers your life. If the Pharaoh or even the Vizier knew of your slinking around the worst districts of Ad Astra, our entire efforts of the past 4 years could be ended within seconds. Why are you so sure of that? You seem to think... damn it, I can't talk. You seem to think they care about me. I said none of your games tonight. I know your relationship with your father is a poor one, but frankly, well, that matters little to me. What does matter is the optics. Imagine the son of the Khemian pharaoh being murdered on the poorest streets of Ad Astra. Imagine it. Like it or not, you are my responsibility while you are here, as you are a diplomatic guest. So my inability to, at the very least, keep you alive would demand an answer from Khemia, and set back all of our work by years, if not generations. That finally seems to get through to the jackal, as he does not respond this time. A very uncomfortable silence follows. Then the jackal bows with a quick duck of his head. You are right, Amicus. I suppose I have become too comfortable on this moon. I apologize for my negligence. The Pharaoh then turns to me. And I apologize to you, Scipio. I had no intention of endangering your mission, but more importantly, your life. Forgive me. Oh, okay. He catches me a bit off guard, but I manage to keep my composure. You have my forgiveness, Neferu. That's sweet. Then realizing Amicus's eyes are now on me, I quickly turn to him. I am digesting and learning about this new position I am in. Still, I should have known such actions were reckless. I'm sorry, my Emperor. I kneel before Amicus, holding my breath. This would be the moment to prepare myself for dismissal from both the palace and my position. The Pharaoh's paw comes to rest on my shoulder in a somewhat sympathetic way. Amicus rubs his face with a paw, tiredly sighing loudly. Be thankful that Virginia is not aware of this. Amicus, you should know that a report to the incident has been filed for Virginia upon her awake. Calm is a freaking snitch, damn. Delete that calm. The leading report of the assassination attempt upon the lives of the Pharaoh and Scipio for Virginia. Who's running this moon exactly? Gods, I have such a mess to clean up now. Who else knows about what happened? The owner of the establishment and possibly a few housekeepers. Yeah, they would know. The housekeepers would know because they're the ones who's assigned to clean all that viscera and blood. Calm, guard the entrance to the den. Ensure that no one leaves in premises until I arrive. Amicus walks past us, and I can hear the deep rumble in his throat. That is a stifled growl before he calls over his shoulder. The Pharaoh, you are to take up residence in the palace once more. I'll have your belongings moved here from wherever the hell you're staying now. Oh, wonderful. In fact, Calm, alert Viteris and Brunus that they will both be moving residence behind palace walls first thing in the morning. We cannot afford mistakes at this point. Yes, Amicus. And where should I bed for the night, Amicus? Amicus is almost past the archway. Same rules as the last time. It should be as you left it. Oh really? I thought that room was for the Emperor. But Amicus disappears around the corner, a small parade of drones following him. The Pharaoh goes quiet, staring at the archway where the wolf last was. Then he rubs the back of his neck, looking back at me. Does that mean I take the sofa? I gesture at one of them. I'm only partly joking. I'm not sure where I'm supposed to stay. If you'd like, I don't think I've ever seen anyone use them. I believe, however, that Amicus was implying that we share the room. Sounds kinky, but okay. What made you believe that? There are 2 beds in that room, if it really is the same as I left it. Isn't one of those beds was supposed to be for Cato? Yeah, I think one of those beds were for Cato. I think about my small room on campus, the one that I had been moved to after achieving my new assignment, the place that I desperately wish to be right now. Being in the faculty dorms, I don't have to mingle with the students, not that I would have to anyway, considering they're all off for the summer. But while I'd like to be alone, I'm not sure if there's security robust enough to deal with assassination attempts. I don't know if Amicus has a drone tailing me as well. Probably not. So, do you wish to speak about what happened, or... In all honesty, I wish to have a genuine bath. Yeah, that sounds fair. That all that dried blood on your fur must not have, probably doesn't feel very, very good. I'm becoming aware of the smell again, now that I'm no longer distracted by the Emperor. I'll take that as a no. Follow me. I frown a bit as I follow the jackal, reminding myself of Khemian bluntness and my need to adjust to it, or even adapt to it for my own use. We walk in silence through the marble halls and soon cross into sections I'm not familiar with. The last time I visited the palace, I'd been a bit too preoccupied to really take in my surroundings. Now I'm able to see that it's more simple than I would have imagined, almost utilitarian in its design. One would imagine halls lined with gold and encrusted with gems of if they only listened to rumors spread by lower classes. We come to a stop at what appears to be a door without a handle, and the Pharaoh automatically raises a paw to a black square, which sends the door sliding open at a startling speed. That is a bit fanciful, I have had to admit. What's even more fanciful is a bath the same size as the public one in the university, maybe even bigger. The university's bath is almost always filled with dozens of men, but this one is completely empty. I just been reminded of the fact that the entire palace is freaking empty. There's no like helpers, no maids, no nothing. There was what was that bastard cat again at Astra? What was that name? I can't even remember his name. I think he's the dude that ended up with Amicus's brother. I don't care. I actually hate him. But yeah, I just been reminded how empty this entire palace is. Okay, instead of sulfuric smell I'm used to, I'm instead hit with a warm, steamy wall of floral scents. Help yourself, Jones will clean up after you. I step in hesitantly, then notice Neferu hanging back. Don't you need a wash as well? There's a personal bath in the room. Besides that, I feel you need a more. Neferu makes vague, waving motions with his paws. Wide open space to ease your mind. What you experienced was a terrible thing, and I know it has affected you. I bristled. For that moment, yes, but I've had time to collect myself. Well, collect yourself further. When you're finished, ask for directions to where I am. Calm will direct you. Neferu steps out. My thighs. Neferu steps out, leaving me frowning once again at the way he seems to sprint circles around me with his blunt words. I begin understanding, deciding. I began undressing, deciding to be faster with my own tongue when I speak to him. Neferu thinks to himself to be more clever than he really is, but it's not difficult to speak fast while being rude. Not for me, anyway. I simply yield to higher authority in being a mentee student, that means I yield to most everyone here. Neferu, however, insists we speak as equals, and if most of my assignment involves needing to learn more about him, then I must do that. I suck air through my teeth as I slip into the water, a bit surprised of how much hotter it is than the university bath. I usually lower myself slowly, but it's painful enough that as my groin nears the steaming water, I just drop in all at once. Ah, I've grown in equal parts pain and pleasure before dugging my head into the scented water. I come back up, tasting the salty minerals, leaving me to wonder how they're kept to smell so pleasant. Because it's the palace. They have really good stuff. Maybe it's completely artificial. I don't mind either way. I'm already feeling better, shivering down my spine a few times as I imagine the remnants of the night wash off my own body. I submerge myself a few more times before finally sitting back, sighing deeply. I'm finally able to relax. And though the hot water is partially the culprit, it's mainly due to the fact that I haven't been dismissed yet. Amicus would have done it in the main hall if he'd felt that what we'd done was too dangerous. And as for the moment, the Pharaoh hasn't shown any indication that he intends to tell anyone else about what he saw me do. Though I had just been reluctant to share my experience with the jackal, I think it would be wise to open up to him a bit. Yeah, he's gonna ask a few questions about stuff like that. I think he deserves to know a bit of why that happened back there. He'd seen my reaction and questioned it. Best to achieve some understanding just in case he goes elsewhere for answers. During the psychological portion of the vetting process from my position, I'd almost panicked many times. I doubt I'd be able to do it again in my current state. Then maybe you aren't meant to be the one to go. It will be difficult confessing my mental weakness to someone that isn't my mindfulness teacher or my mother. My eyes fly open as I realize I've forgotten to send my daily message to her. Aww. Scipio has a mom? That's so sweet. Yes, wait, I didn't read that. Damn it. Calm? Yes, Scipio? Do you have a portal here that I can use? I'm sorry, but I cannot allow you to use technology reserved for Imperial family. I sigh, wondering if I'll have to ask Neferu to borrow his. However, your personal portal is due to arrive within the minute. Along with the rest of your belongings, would you like me to send it to you in the baths? Yes, please. I'm not sure how to feel about my personal things being gathered and flown to me without me being involved. I don't dwell on it, just standing the soap, then rinse my fur, careful to really get the spots that were at one point crusted up. That sounds really, really gross. Also, who cleans the water in there? I mean, if we look at this, that It's just basically a really huge bathtub. Who cleans this? Okay. I dry in a hurry. I dry in a hurry, and as I'm dressing, a tiny drone floats down from an opening in the ceiling, balancing a silver rod about the length of my forearm upon its back. I pluck my portal from the floating machine in a delicate manner, now very conscious of what they're capable of. Thank you. I mumble quietly, but it immediately floats away, back to its ceiling hatch. I quickly tap it to extend the transparent glowing panel from the rod. I feel my heart leap in my chest as I see that I have a message waiting for me from Mother. I'd hoped that maybe she hasn't been up yet, even though Lux is several hours ahead of Ad Astra, and she's an early riser. I open it and see a small message. Skip, I hope you are well. Did you fall asleep early? I imagine they must be working you quite hard. Please respond when you can. All my love, Mother. Ah. It was sent around the time I'd been asleep, before it happened. What if I haven't survived and never sent her a final message because of my forgetfulness? That's actually a very, very dark thing to think of. I start to type a message back, a quick one, but then I notice the icon in the corner. Visual communication is what truly makes this device a portal. We only use it once weekly, but that day is 2 days away. And because I missed sending my message on time, and because I missed my mother, I push the icon resembling an arrowhead, as if pointing to the direction of where my mother is thousands of miles away. She answers within seconds. At first, all I see is white fabric, then a bracelet, then my mother's face. Skip, she doesn't have a sprite? We want to see her face. Come on. Skip, are you alright? You fell asleep, didn't you? She doesn't sound too worried or upset, but her chiding voice makes it difficult to speak for some reason. That if she only knew what happened to her son, that would actually be a very, very bad thing. Scipio, are you alright? You are alright, aren't you? Have you just had a bath? Your mane is sticking up. The fortress inside my mind that I had thought I'd rebuilt comes crumbling down, and there's a siren passing by. I'm so sorry, you guys. I open my mouth, but all that comes out is a sob as tears well over. Oof. When I get back to the Pharaoh's room, I find him already asleep on the bed. It's certainly much more exotic than the rest of the palace, but being in the Emperor's room, that makes sense. I see a few crates stacked in one of the corners of the room, which I presume to be our belongings. I'm too tired to look into them now, however, and find myself slumping into the smaller bed. Even if it is smaller, it's quite a bit more comfortable than any bed I've slept in. Within less than a minute, the gurgling fountain behind me lulls me into a deep sleep. I sit on the edge of the pond, letting my feet cool in the water. I was only a little confused when I woke up in the palace. I very quickly remember what happened the night before. It's somewhat easier to think back on now. Still, there's an odd, dreamy quality to what I see, almost like a filter exists between me and the world. Is he dreaming? It's a familiar, numbing feeling, and I sit here in front of the fountain, feeling as if I'm staring through a fog I cannot see. This happened last time too, though it's not nearly as bad. Shortly after the riots, I was seeing everything as if it were a film. A terrible, depressing film, but at least it didn't feel real. I just realized that Ad Astra, or whatever kind of world this is, it has films! Movies exist! I mean, the possibility of it existing is already there. I mean, they have technology, but still, the concept of a bunch of Ad Astran wolves playing in a movie is just very, 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 very interesting. A defense mechanism, my mindfulness teacher had called it. I let Neferu still sleeping in the bedroom, hopeful that he might seek me out, and extremely relieved when he does. Neferu coming to look for me tells me that he's at least still interested in me, which I remind myself is something I need to keep up. He stumbles out, looking a bit more unkempt than usual, squinting in the bright light. Getting fresh air? I wave my paws around, mimicking him from last night. Space. If space is what you like, I think you will really enjoy the deserts of Khemia. Are you asking him out on a date, Neferu? You know, I come from a region of Ad Astra. I come from a region of Ad Astra that is a desert. Yes, but nowhere on Ad Astra is like the deserts of Khemia. Dude, desert is the desert. Sand, piles of sand is still piles of sand. What are you talking about? Yeah, lots of dunes, right? Among other things, but yes, many of those. I think back to my primary schooling. I would go to the library and obsessively examine the educational murals of Khemia, and the sprawling dunes below and a bright moon above. Meanwhile, jackals dance in the moonlight. That was probably the beginning of my obsession with Khemia, and the pharaoh reminded me that I might be able to go. It penetrates through my numbed fog, and I feel some excitement, but also apprehension, because I know I need to talk to your pharaoh about last night if I'm ever going to if I'm ever going to rest easy. It must show on my face. What's wrong? Can I speak to you for a moment about something I'd like to keep private between us? The pharaoh walked closer to the edge of the pond. Well, it depends on what that something is. Promising to keep a secret before knowing it is. Ahotep. I jumped too, bringing my paws to my chest and ducking my head. What? I looked back at the jackal as he stumbles back, staring wide eyes at the ground beside me. I looked down, finding nothing but stone, and a garden spider. I looked back at him, my heart hammering bits in my chest, trying to fight off that rising panic. What is it, the pharaoh? If he's playing games with me in my current state, I don't think I would be able to forgive him. But I know he's shuddering, looking angry. Oh, God damn your 8 eyes. It's every time in this awful garden. I look at the spider, motionless, legs spanned out to touch either side of the pond's stone border. Are you speaking to a spider in the pharaoh? And how the hell do you sit next to it? It's this. I gotta do that. I gotta do it with the accent. And how the hell do you sit next to it? It's disgusting. Okay. Segue. I'm sorry. I sit there, confused, completely thrown by a sudden violent reaction from the pharaoh. What's wrong with it? Everything. I start to smile a little. Are you afraid of it, Neferu? You know that their venom is hardly... I know, many of you wolves remind me of this. It doesn't change the fact that it's an abomination. It's just a spider, Neferu. God damn. What did that ever do to you? Hold on. What did that spider ever do to you? Come on. I looked back down at the creature, frowning before poking one of my claws at the very back of its abdomen. Like lightning, it skitters away up the border and towards a pillar. They're the most natural and effective form of pest control, you know. Back when I was a pup, I would catch them to keep as pets. Oh, so Neferu is that kind of nerd, huh? Neferu watches the spider warily before approaching the edge of the pond, looking about carefully before finally sitting next to me. Cultural differences, I suppose. I think back to my studies of Khemian wildlife, of the many dangerous and extremely venomous creatures that prowled through the sands. Are spiders dangerous on Khemia? I know other arachnids can pose a threat. Scorpions, I think they're called. The creatures with the incredible stinging tails. Neferu dips his feet into the water with a sigh. Incredibly painful stinging tails. Even on this planet, I shake out my clothing and bedding. It became a habit after an incident with one of my loincloths during my... Ooh. Ouch. I will only say that I would prefer to be kicked in the groin by a Pugnu champion. Nice reference there, man. Nice reference there. Then your fear of arachnids is completely reasonable. Amicus would say otherwise. I'm glad to know a wolf that's more understanding. Now you wanted to confide in me about something. Our light-hearted conversation becomes heavy once more, and I sigh, wondering the best approach. A quick one, I think. Neferu, I've come to enjoy our company over the past year, and especially the past week. I feel that we are becoming true friends. I mean, you slept with him. I would hope you'd stay friends after that. Woven friends, I know. Woven friends, I know we're already friends by Khemian standards. If Khemian standards being sleeping with them, what can I say? You make great conversation. Are you sure that's like the only thing you like about him? I mean, thank you, but I do feel that because of that, I should tell you some things about myself that could be important. So I want to explain what happened last night. I see. I will let you speak without interruptions then. Well, there is not much to say, simply that I had a terrible experience 2 years ago. During Cato's riots, some wolves decided to target the university. Oh, it's that time. It's that moment, huh? It's when back. I don't know if you guys remember it. Back in the at Astra, there was a moment in that novel where we saw the city in flames. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's when it happened. They stormed our dormitories and attacked students and faculty. I was caught and humiliated in various ways, then beaten. I look at Neferu's reflection, but he's only looking at me in a stoic face. What I expected was mild compared to others. I witnessed many terrible things. This all left an impression on my mind. A sort of... I furrow my brows, trying to think of the night towards the right words to describe it. Like an ache, but in my mind, one that I have mostly been able to overcome. But the events at the den, it irritated that ache a bit. The reaction you saw from me, that was why. Being awoken suddenly, then witnessing what happened, it left me unprepared. But I am prepared now, and I doubt the ache will return. I just wanted to explain it to you as a friend, though it is something I only tell friends, so I hope you can keep it between us. I wait for a moment, already somewhat happy with my tactics in explaining this to him, but he stays quiet. Anxiety ripples up in a place below my diaphragm. I look up at Neferu, though he's no longer looking at me. Ooh, that's cool. Let me see this for a bit. That's cute. That's really, really cute. They make good art for this novel. They really did. I hope I was able to make sense. My mind is not broken. I understand what is real. It's more like a glitch that can be easily patched. It's called post-traumatic stress disorder. It's something that happens when someone is very, very stressed, and something that happened to them in the past somewhat gets triggered, and they think they're back in that moment in time. You guys probably already know that, but for the people who doesn't know. More silence. My heart sinks. Damn it. I should have known. Why was I so hopeful initially? Neferu is a Khemian. He knows when something is inefficient and he won't hesitate to replace it. That's what I am. I was being selfish, trying to stay on the mission. I suppose you're upset with me? I stumbled dejectedly, feeling myself wanting to cry. I keep myself from doing so, partly by biting my cheeks and keeping the corners of my mouth from tilting downward. Something I've done since my earlier memories. Oh, he's sensitive. That's so cute. It seems to help for whatever reason. Neferu finally looks at me. Scipio. Yes? I keep my voice light and attentive. I am upset, but not with you. I am frustrated with many things. I suppose I'm upset with Ad Astra as a whole. The Jackal's voice is heavy and distant. Ad Astra? I know that you know this, but the catalyst of those riots involved me to an extent. Of course I do. I'm still surprised that he's talking about this. No one talks about it, not in the 2 years I've been involved in the mission, so I assumed it would never be discussed. I clear my throat. I do know, yes. When I was kneeling in the amphitheater, certain my life was about to end, I was at peace, in fact. I was at peace. In fact, you might even say that I was willing to die, especially at that time. The Pharaoh trails his paws through the water again. But then again, I was saved by a friend. Shortly afterwards, I witnessed his neck being slashed instead. At the moment, he was leaning against me. I saw his neck in detail. I got to witness his final moments with his lover. Oh, it's that moment, okay. I continued to listen, keeping my expression attentive, though I know the full story and I'm confused as to why he's bringing it up. The human sacrifice saved Amicus's rule and the Pharaoh's life. I would have thought of it as an intensely joyous moment for the jackal. He was very brave. The Pharaoh is quite quiet for a moment, still playing with the water. Yes, though he'd deny it and tell you that he simply never knows what he's doing and only goes with the flow or something along those lines. I frowned a bit, even more confused. Anyway, I tell you this because that experience changed something within me. I don't believe that I've ever feared death until the very moment when I was right next to it. For the first time, I watched a sapient, a friend, transition from existence to nothing. Nothing but an empty, damaged vessel cradled in his lover's arms. Now I think I understand. Memories surface of that bright blue sky day of Professor Urbicus laying on his back in the street next to me as I played dead. I watched his fitful death throes, his last sporadic movements as his damaged brain struggled to continue its existence. Then it failed. My mind begins clouding slightly. Then the Pharaoh notices. Sorry, are you alright? I clear my mind. Yes. I should be more delicate about my point, but my point is exactly this. We share a terrible moment 3 years ago, one that still deeply affects us to this day. He pauses. Excuse my Khemian ways, but the Pharaoh's arm suddenly around my shoulders, pulling me towards him until my muzzle is right next to his and his rests his head against mine. He's hugging you! I freeze up slightly, definitely unused to contact such as this. I'm not gonna attempt to I'm not gonna attempt to say that. I hear Nefero's voice unfiltered by my lingua for the first time. And of course, he speaks perfect, beautiful Khemian. Okay, you know what? I have to pause this for a bit because it's already a bit too long. My data is gonna hate me for this. But in terms of editing, it's gonna be very, very easy. I have a more powerful form now. So yeah, I'm gonna have to end it here for a bit. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this read through, and finally I got to read this part of the novel, cause yeah. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Follow me on Twitter, chat with me on Discord, and coffee stuff. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next part of this read through. Bye.